Big thanks to Northside Tool Rental for sponsoring Shoot to Grill. Any and all of your tool rental needs with 5 Atlanta area locations. From chainsaws to track loaders to wood splitters, I've rented just about everything from Northside Tool Rental. Check them out online, northsidetoolrental.com. Thanks, guys.
Shoot to grill, aim to chill. Too many cold ones, I need an Advil, yeah. Shoot to grill, I can't kill. So don't bring me nothing that's got chlorophyll, yeah.
Welcome to Shoot to Grill, the podcast where grilling meets entertainment. My name is Jason Bailey. Of course, our chef to my far, far left in the blue is the amazing Sheed from Phillips Barbecue Company, phillipsbarbecueco.com. And our special celebrity guest this week is my good buddy from the band Collective Soul. It is Will Turpin. How are you, Will?
Yeah, man,
Welcome.
good.
Welcome,
Good to be here.
Will.
I heard a lot about this. I'm ready. I'm excited.
This is new, though.
I got to see Sheed's talents.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Sheed's got a camera on his head now. That's
Dude,
new.
It's upgraded. Told you, season 2, we're going all out. Got a trash can, now we got a head cam. I don't know what's going for.
Is
the
that
next
your
episode.
grill cam?
That is my new grill cam.
Okay, so here's what we do on the podcast for those not in the know. I'm guessing why you're here is because you want to see some good food grilled and hear an amazing conversation with an awesome dude like Will Turpin. So, Will, you're a grill guy, right? You have a, big green
I like
egg?
grilling. I do. That's the family thing. The man just, I feel, it does make me feel more like a man when I cook
Extra
for the
man
family.
points,
Yeah.
just working the grill.
You've got a green egg at the house, which is similar to the Joe
Right.
that we usually cook on here at the Atlanta Grill Company in Roswell, Georgia.
sir.
But this is a little bit different. For this episode, we're not going to the norm of steaks. Like, what do you normally cook at the house?
Yeah, we do, some basic stuff. The boys love chicken. So honestly, we do a lot of grilled chicken. But
Nice.
salmon, I like to smoke maybe a pork loin or a butt or something like that.
Yeah.
Let it
Dig
go
that. I
all
like
day,
that.
get some juices down there going. I like doing that.
Well, this
like
is
that.
different. This is different from me, too, because I've never seen this done on a grill. Sheed, would you like to explain
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Terry from AtlantaSteakandSeafood.com has brought us this week?
So I wanted to do something different. We've done a lot of meat on here, so we're doing mussels and ginormous clams. Size of your fist size clams here today. And I don't know if a lot of people do it, but I love it. I love smoking clams and mussels on the smoker. It's just the best flavor, the best taste.
Well, how's that going to work, though? Like, when I'm thinking smoking, Will, probably the same way, is that, you put the thing on the grill,
Yep.
and it's there for 11 or 12 hours. We don't have that much time here.
We don't, not right now. But this won't take that long. We're looking 15, 20 minutes. You scrub these bad boys down really, really clean, even though I got some flack from Mr. Nate over there about it.
Well,
So-
what did he say?
saying we're delayed because of me. I was scrubbing clams, so this is very important for everyone out there. If you're going to do this, scrub them thoroughly. Make sure they're clean because you're basically going to be steaming them in their own little juices. They sort of suck in water. If you pop one open, you'll see a little water in there, and that's what we're using.
I
to
know
steam
nothing
them.
about this stuff. This
Never
is
seen it.
great.
Well,
How'd
that's
you
why you
scrub
have
it?
to
Would you scrub it
know
with a scrub brush?
You
Yeah.
scrub clams with.
Yeah,
a very tough bristle brush.
I want to see a picture
What do
of
you rub a
Will's.
clam with?
I want to see Will scrub a clam at the house and post it on social media.
You scrub them clean, right? They're
After
nice
you
and
left the
clean.
podcast, you're like, dude, all right, so my buddy Bailey and they told me to go scrub clams. So in between Collective Soul gigs, I'm scrubbing clams for the
clams.
family.
It's a hell of a forearm workout.
All right, so you're scrubbing the clams now. What kind of temperature are you putting the grill at?
So we got the KJ raging right now. We got it just under 500 because this whole meal is being cooked on the KJ. We're actually even boiling water, making some pasta to go along with this dish because we're making a nice little lemon butter, garlic sauce to go with the pasta. Hit it with the smoked clams and mussels. Yeah, I saw your mouth water. You're kind of happy. You came
That
out
sounds
today,
good, huh?
aren't you?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
It's
All right,
gonna
and how
taste
long?
even
You
better.
about 20 minutes, you say?
About 20 minutes on
Can
those
you do
clams.
the eye check? Well, like you'd know when they're done.
Oh, they'll fully open up, and you'll see it. That's the great thing about cooking clams and mussels. They let you know when they're done. They just open wide up and say, "Let's eat."
How can I not?
Yeah, go ahead.
How can I stop thinking about the sexual?
I know.
analogies?
No,
I've
you
been
can't.
waiting for you to get in on that.
I'm throwing you.
Damn rock
I mean, you
stars.
know what a mussel looks like.
Damn rock stars and their dirty
not to
minds.
mention the word clam. I mean,
Clams
I'm
and mussels.
screwed here. All I can think about is one thing. Donna's scared. She thinks I'm coming home and scrubbing a clam. I'm gonna come home with some mint. She's like, that is not going in me.
Only my husband
get
would
that
come
clam
home
ready.
from a grilling podcast, horny, and saying, "Hey, honey,
ready
can
to
I scrub
scrub
your
your clam."
clam?"
Well, listen,
Sorry,
the clams
sir.
are an aphrodisiac, so your wife may have to look out there.
Just 3 horny dudes hanging out by a grill.
Eating clams, scrubbing mussels.
All right, so you're going to go over to the KJ. You're going to do it up. Both the mussels and the clams are going to
sir.
open up.
Open up. Let us know they're ready. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of fresh squeezed lemon juice, some lemon zest, garlic. Boom. Ready to go.
Still thinking that way from the fresh squeezed, weren't you?
Yeah,
I knew
it's
that
just
was
a
kinda-
squeeze.
All right.
Just,
All right, she'd go over there. We'll get you on the grill cam, which is now on your head,
yes.
which
moving
is
up in
kind
the
of
world.
cool. I want to talk to Will about stuff. So where do we start? Okay, this is where we're going to
got?
start. We're going to start from day one, and we're going to do the entire life of Collective Soul. No, I really want to go back because so not only a fan of Collective Soul before Will and I became friends, but I actually had the opportunity to work at the radio station that gave Collective Soul mainstream success, which would be WJRR in Orlando.
That's
yeah.
right. So
Steve,
you were there in '94 when we were stopping by, and we were,
I was not. I worked there later.
a little later.
And I became friends with Steve-O, who works for Atlantic Records, who gave you guys your first big deal, correct?
Steve, close. Let's get this right.
Please.
Steve was the first one on a commercial station, JRR.
Oh, that's right. He was a program director at the time.
He was program director. So he was the first one to go out on a limb on an independent record. The first Collective Soul record was an independent record, and we had sold some copies in Atlanta. The college station here, Album 88, had supported it. But he was the first one to go out on a limb on a commercial station as program director, which, if you remember back in the day, that was kind of going out on a limb.
Yeah.
But without Steve and that commercial success, and then all of a sudden we're selling, and we sold tens of thousands of records on the independent record. And then, once JRR played it and there was success there, then Atlantic Records was knocking on the door. And then our thought was, AC/DC and Led Zeppelin were on Atlantic Records. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, you could probably make the argument because, Steve-O's high up with Atlantic right now is that Collective Soul got on the job with Atlantic.
Well, no, that's actually 100% true.
Yeah, I believe it.
That's 100% true. We said, you got to hire this guy. He's got ears, man.
Yeah. So before that, when you guys are getting together, so Ed, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but your dad owned a production studio, right?
Reel to Reel Studios, yeah.
Yeah. And then Ed worked there.
Yeah, Reel to Reel Studios, my father opened in 1976. The small town that Collective Soul came from, Stockbridge, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly a small town when we were growing up. There was a big Baptist church and a small recording studio in Metro Atlanta right there in that small town. Ed's 6.5 years my senior, so he's back from college and he's head engineer at my father's studio. Me and my buddies are watching him work on his craft, watching him do some solo records. And then basically, the short version, I'll try to get a short version. When his friends were getting married and getting real jobs when he's about 26 years old, basically there's me and my friends and his brother included. We're in bands in high school, and he's like, okay, that's my new band.
What year is this?
This would have been, Shane started playing drums with him the year he got out of high school, which would have been 89. 1990. It would have been 90 maybe.
And so when you guys get together, the first time Collective Soul, you guys actually got together and you said, we're going to do this, and this is the direction the sound is going to go in. That would be what year?
Yeah, and it didn't really happen like that. Collective Soul was a band, and I would even sit in with them playing for over a year, maybe a year and a half period. I was sitting in singing backups with Ed and playing hand drums, playing tambourines. I wasn't even playing bass. And there was an independent record that was a Collective Soul record, but Ed was also kind of getting disenchanted with actually being able to be a successful band. So he was also shopping those same songs for even a publishing deal or some kind of songwriting deal. So Collective Soul was a band, and Ed had a band, and it consisted of all the guys from Stockbridge. But we were playing, we were playing maybe Collective Soul was playing maybe 8, 9 shows a year during '92 and '93, something like that. And then me, Shane, and Ross were also playing in a frat band, making money, UGA, Georgia Tech. But we didn't really say, dude, we are going to have a band and we're going to rock and we're going to see if we can get this plane to take off. We didn't really do that until after the spark of the commercial success happened.
And then you look at that year, and the reason, Will, why I asked you the year was because you're looking at the high point of grunge, and Collective Soul considered on paper a post-grunge band, and there was not a lot, but there's a good amount of these post-grunge bands with a lot of commercial success. So did you guys think that you were going to be able to compete with the Nirvanas and the Pearl Jams and the Alice in Chains and the STPs, or were you more looking at like, well, if bands like Candlebox can get success and not be so grungy, then Collective Soul can get success as well and not have to go that route?
Yeah, no, we don't. I mean, I think as artists, we don't analyze it like that. I know that Collective Soul sounded and still does sound different than any other band,
sure.
And that's been a real strong point of us over the years. But no, you don't sit down and analyze like that. You don't sit down and go, hey, let's take this art form and make it this way so we can be successful. It's understanding who Ed was as a songwriter. We all, even though we were a little younger than Ed, we all understood what his lyrics were about. We had watched him craft a couple records before there was a Collective Soul. We understood his songwriting, and we, as a group, saw eye to eye real quickly. It was like laser focus on where we wanted to take the songs. And even in the earliest days, we would always say in interviews, we're here to service the music and make the song as good as it can be. So it was just what felt right to us. It wasn't something, you don't sit down at 22 years old and go, what if we make our sound a little bit more like this? And we can be around for 25 years.
Well, you've seen The Dirt, like the Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Right. And the part at the end when, right after the Dr. Feelgood tour, before they get John Corabi in the band, and they Nikki Sixx wants to go more in the grunge direction because grunge, and you see outside the studio the Pearl Jam album cover, and I would think every band or every artist for that matter is like, okay, this is what's working right now. How do we take our sound and adapt to that, because that's what the kids are into? But that's interesting that you guys didn't even have that thought process.
Nah, that's weak to me, honestly. That's just weak as an artist.
It's commendable. It's tough.
No, it's business is business, and whatever they want to do with their ideas and how they go about their thing. But I mean, hey, Elton John, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, they were pretty good too, and that's who we considered our strongest influences. And although we did love exactly what was going on in the Northwest, and we wore flannel too in the early '90s, we had not a lot in common other than maybe the guitar sounds a little bit, distorted guitar sounds. But if that's, grunge doesn't own distorted guitar sounds.
Or flannel.
Right. And if you listen to the records, we're not a grunge band. We're just not.
No, but you look at those bands like the Collective Souls, and I'm going to throw Candlebox in there as well. Love Kevin Martin with Candlebox, but those sounds during and post grunge help transition. I mean, like the millions and millions of albums Collective Soul sold. I just think that you guys are such an underrated band as far as having your place in music history of transitioning from a genre that was so dominating, and you were part of a genre that really never got a name. You know what I mean? Maybe pop rock. I don't know what you would call the genre.
I would go very generic, just like you said. I would probably just go pop rock. I mean, and if the Beatles were a rock band, then by God, Collective Soul is a rock band.
Sure, why not?
I mean, and these labels and stuff, people have to be able to label things to categorize it and market it, or even just be able to discuss it. Hey, we're talking about grunge music. It's a label, but it's not where we go. We don't go with labels. Rock is a big, encompassing thing, and we're a rock band.
Do you remember the first time you heard the first single from Collective Soul commercially was?
Yeah, we were on the way to Orlando, and
it's Shine, right?
It was Shine, of course, yeah. And we were on the way to Orlando. We actually, some reason, our minds made us want to pull over and celebrate, but we were all in a car or a van going to Orlando to do a show because Steve had played the tune, and you know, we had sold like 800 seats at, I believe, the station.
Yeah,
You
sure,
remember the
yeah,
station?
sure, yeah.
So we were going down to play the station, but
Hey, give us 30 seconds so we can thank some good people for making this happen. A big thanks to Jarrett with Oxendine Law Firm, oxlawfirm.com. What does Jarrett do? Well, Jarrett will take care of any divorce that you might be thinking about having. He handles divorces in the state of Georgia and especially the greater Atlanta area. oxlawfirm.com. Thanks, Jarrett. See, that wasn't bad. Now back to the Shoot to Grill podcast.
our minds, I think back now, I'm like, why did we get out of the car to celebrate? It's like we got out of the car to jump around and celebrate.
So the whole band in a van.
Yeah.
Traveling down to Orlando.
We kind of pulled over and jumped around as we got out of the car.
So you were in your radio signal distance, and you have you have JRR on, which is a rock station in Orlando, and you hear whoever the DJ was ramp up Collective Soul Shine. Who's driving?
I don't know.
Okay.
That might have been Ed back in those days. He certainly doesn't drive anymore.
And what kind of car were we in?
It was a van. It was a rental van. We used to use my dad's van a lot. I mean, I don't remember whose van that was in. We used to use their father, Ed and Dean's father's van every now and then.
Beat up van.
Pretty old vans, yeah. I remember,
Stunk smell.
I remember one time, I wasn't on this trip, but this was Collective Soul, probably 3 years, 91. I was still in college thinking that rock bands couldn't really have a real career, but these were my best friends, and I was supporting them.
Yeah.
But I remember they went to South by Southwest, and yeah, the van, it was the rolling van. It breaks down halfway to Texas, and good rock and roll stories.
And so you hear Shine come on, and you pull off on the side of the interstate.
I don't know if we were on. Some of those memories are cloudy. I wish we had those cell phones.
I was going to say
then.
the digital. Okay, and were you dancing on the side of the road?
Lord knows how many cool pictures I'd have if we had, or pictures that I wouldn't want people to see.
Yeah, I was going
if
to
we
say
would
that.
had cameras in the '90s. We were hanging around so many festivals and so many different musicians all the time.
So you guys are dancing, high fiving.
We just kind of did the jump around high five thing, and then
you knew you made it.
Got back in the car and got ready to play a rock show that night.
But you knew you made it at that point.
I don't know. I don't
I
know
would
if we knew.
think so,
I don't
right?
know. We were like, hey, we're gonna get a chance to make it. I think that's what we thought. We're gonna get a chance. We're gonna get our shot.
Yeah.
And we were confident. We were not cocky. We were very confident. We knew as a group we had something special.
Well, I'm a few years younger than you, and you know that in college.
No, I don't know.
In college, Collective Soul was
Rock and roll years are different than DJ years. I don't know if anybody's
Correct, yeah.
explained this to you.
Was a huge part of my life, and I've told you the story before, Will, but new audience of the podcast is my first couple years in Wingate, North Carolina. Me and this dude Shad, who actually lives here in Georgia, we'd come home and drive. Anyway, we were listening to Collective Soul all the time, and just driving around in my 88 Honda Prelude, shirts off and Collective Soul and Shine, knowing all the words, and I'm assuming that fans, when you guys go out on the road on tour now, Collective Soul has been touring nonstop for years for the most part. People come up and tell you some amazing stories about how Collective Soul was the soundtrack of their lives, correct?
Yeah.
Any one in particular, or a few stick? People come up and say, thank you, or I hate you, or I was doing this when Shine or Gel or December or whatever came out?
I hear a lot of we met at a Collective Soul show, and I asked her to marry me, and this was one of our marriage songs. We hear that stuff. And we hear a lot of personal stories that, to be honest with you, it's very touching, and it's hard to remember a specific story that I'm thinking of that I can really relay. But for the most part, it's just it's the reality that music is. It's kind of like for me, it's kind of like the last form of magic. At a certain age, I realized, there's really no way to make something disappear or anything. But when people come together and create the right frequencies and it's the right way and the lyrics are involved, it's absolutely magic. It can transform a human. It can transform the way you feel. It can take you to the inspiration can take you to another level in your own life. Not to mention just being the soundtrack to your life.
Right.
When you dial up that song Shine,
Yeah.
don't those feelings of the prelude come right? Doesn't it come right
Every
back to you?
single time.
It's frequencies and lyrics. You mix them in and you do them the right way, and it hits people's eardrum. It goes to their brain, and it's absolutely magic. I can't tell you exactly what makes it magic, but it's 100% magic, and it's real.
You know, like when you guys are in the studio or we're in the studio, and let's take Shine for example, because some of the most famous parts of the song is trying to nail the kind of stuff, and not probably realizing that 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years later, people are still thinking about those little parts of the song. You know what I mean? They might not know every lyric, but they're damn sure waiting for Ed to give that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To you, you're probably a little jaded by that, but by a fan, it's like, that's cool. You just, those parts of songs will always stick with people.
Yeah, and your brain takes you to that thing where you're waiting for it, and you're thinking about it, and it's like I said, there's some magic going on with music, and
who do you mark
really
out for when you're out on tour or throughout the years? Some of the guys you got to meet, maybe befriend. I'm sure you befriended a lot of them.
Yeah.
And you got to tell similar stories that I'm telling you right now.
What musicians I've become good friends with?
That you were fans of before you met.
I got to meet Gwen Stefani a couple times. I was a fan of No Doubt. I thought she was really attractive.
Did you tell her that?
And actually, the first you talking about Gavin was there too.
Gavin, when they were married.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is the stereotypical rock star. So cool, just intimidating because the dude is so cool. Just, I mean, maybe not your perspective, but mine, just that guy is badass.
I did Gavin. The classics, I mean, we're friends with Tommy Shaw. He recorded a track for us on the new record.
Yep.
Tommy Shaw's vocal, his oh my gosh, his vocal is still one of the best things you could ever hear live on a rock and roll stage. So his friendship means a lot to us. I'd say of my peers, my friendship with Emerson Hart of Tonic. Tonic to me is and Emerson's songwriting is one of my favorites.
Did you tour the collective?
We've toured with Tonic a number of times, man. Yeah.
But in the early days.
In the early days, it was more we'd see them at festivals and hang out with them at festivals and stuff.
Yeah. Who were some of the bands you really enjoyed to tour with from the start?
We always have a good time with live. Us and live is a big show. We had fun with Three Doors Down last summer.
Yeah.
Gin Blossoms this summer. We have fun with those guys. We're pretty good. Like, we're Southern boys. We're laid back. We're not trying to be better than anybody else. We do our thing, and we do our thing to the best of our ability, and that's all we can do.
Right.
And we're all about laughs and having a good time. If we can't rack up laughs on almost every day on tour, then we're feeling like something's missing.
Yeah, I've never read that Collective Soul was a problem on tour with anybody. You've never seen that.
We've been fined and charged certain things, but our stories aren't as well known. Let's just say.
What's the most rock star thing that has?
Well, we've broken stuff in the dressing rooms. Dean did a door. And a glass table. Fist through the glass table. Argument with Ed. So, blood on the walls.
That's awesome.
That was the highest bill we got. I think that was probably, over $1,000. Do
you remember what the argument
was about? The doors
was
and stuff. If there's a wall, little wall gets. There was an accident, but I did do a sheetrock wall one time. But it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to break this. I kind of. Oh well. Speaking of another artist, Michael Anthony and Sammy Hagar. We were on tour with them, and Jason Bonham was playing drums for him, and he kept on with this joke about he kept calling Johnny Rabb, our drummer, the Iceman, because Johnny just steps into funny stuff. But Johnny, backstage, walks up to somebody, he needs some ice. Just while he thinks they're working backstage, hey, you know where the ice is? I need some ice or whatever. And I'm sure he was nice. He's always mounds his manners or whatever. But it was Jason Bonham's wife. And Jason finds out. I mean, in like 30 minutes later, Jason just won't let Johnny live this down. And we're in our dressing room, and Jason's still making more jokes. He's going around following Johnny Rabb going, ice, ice, baby, in his British accent.
Was he mad, or is he just thought it was funny?
He just thought it was funny as hell. But he wouldn't let it go. And then I was just laughing so hard, I kind of did one of those. I used to kind of try to jump off of a wall. Like you kind of put one foot in the wall and jump off of it.
Yeah.
My adrenaline's flowing. I was like, man, I'm going to jump off this wall. And my foot went through the
That's
wall. But
the-
that was my
that was
only,
your accident?
that was my only like $100 fine. Or
But no
whatever.
burning hotel rooms, throwing TVs out windows, nothing like that.
Nah, there's been some rough hotel rooms, but nothing that really got hurt.
You guys have been pretty vanilla for all these years outside of.
Well,
You're like the good boys of rock.
Okay, we got another. I got a hotel. This is a good hotel story. It also involves Johnny Rabb, and we got pictures to prove this one and video. We need to get Jesse. Jesse Triplett's got the video. It was a day off in Peru. Actually the day we're taking a night flight that night, so we're going to land in America the next morning. And we had played a bunch of good successful South American shows. It was time to let loose because we had the whole day and then like a 9 o'clock flight that night. We were ripped on pisco sours. That's what they drink in Peru. Ripped. Ordered some room service because we got like an hour and a half before the 9 o'clock flight. And we started we were having drinks by the water at 12 in the afternoon and doing lunch and stuff. So ordered some room service later that night at the hotel. And a minor pillow fight. Just a pillow was thrown and nothing was really going on. And Johnny's got a little sip of, I don't know why he had a coffee mug. I guess we ran out of glasses and they had bought some more pisco sour. He's holding the coffee mug like this. Jesse throws one of the little comfort like the small little pillows that can kind of be.
Yeah, throw pillows.
Yeah, it's a good throw pillow. Hits him right in the mouth. Right on the tooth. Boom. Immediately, we're all looking at Johnny Rabb, and he's sitting there in the hotel room like, there's my tooth. And Johnny, he's just such a great sport, man. All he did was laugh, make pictures for us. We actually made him a paper tooth. He would walk through the airport. We had this little piece of paper tooth.
So and you're saying he always steps into this stuff?
He steps into it, and then on top of that, he just knows how much enjoyment we're getting out of it. And he's just a great sport. So
Yeah. Well, also, things like that too kind of probably keep the camaraderie in the
they
band
keep
together.
it, man. They keep it going, man.
And then after so many years, and just like in Collective Soul, you guys took a little break, like a lot of bands do, get back together. And I want to kind of touch on a few things before Sheed brings us over the food, but I wanted to bring up Woodstock. You guys played. Did you play both 94 and 99, or
Yeah.
you played them both?
Yeah.
What year did you like better?
Oh, 94 was special for sure. That
You remember who you followed?
it was we were either one or two bands behind King's X. King's X was a huge band to me too. That was like the Beatles mixed with a 3-part rock band.
Great band.
Great band, and they were playing 2 in front of us. This is the year we got signed. I remember watching them on side stage. I think they were 2 bands in front of us, and I saw a sea of people. I mean, literally, you couldn't see the end of humanity. And I was like, whoa, all right, that's my favorite band in the world right now, and that's 300,000 people, and I'm going on in a couple bands. It was daunting. Live played after us. I think it was Candlebox. I think Candlebox was right before us.
That double disc album that came out for the 94 Woodstock, awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And Friday night when we got to play Candlebox live, Collective Soul, Violent Femmes, King's X played, Blues Traveler played that night. It was like basically a bunch of bands who were kind of new right then. And it was before the rain. So we had actually Friday night, we had it was beautiful. And you can hear like when you listen to that live soundtrack or the double disc, when you hear Shine, you hear the crowd, you can just tell that they're happier because the mud and the rain hasn't hit yet.
Green Day probably went on later that night because that's when the rain came, yeah.
And it was more of a farm vibe. It was a natural amphitheater, grass, trees.
Yeah.
And then 99 rolls around. We're on top of a black tarmac.
Not the same.
It just felt stale. People were pissed off. They had $5 waters behind the gates.
Right.
The first one, the gates broke down, and it was awesome.
Would you want to play the 50th anniversary?
That's what's going on right now this summer.
Yeah.
Sure, I would want to, but we took a gig that paid us a bunch more money, and then we couldn't do it.
So there's no nostalgia there. I mean,
No,
obviously
it's
you weren't there the first one.
No,
but.
it's different promoters. It's a different location. It says Woodstock, but
It's not the
really.
same.
Not really.
Not the same.
The 94 was cool, but
The new album, amazing, by the way, came out in June.
Thanks, man. We got you an early copy. Yeah.
I did, yeah. I was lucky enough to, and I'd run into Ed some months ago, and it's like very excited about it. And whenever you see an artist excited about new music, there's two different types of artists that get excited about new music. One that doesn't really care about the album. They just want to make sure people are going to promote it. And two, one that legitimately is extremely proud of the work that they've accomplished. That's what Ed was like. And I can tell the difference. And so he got me an early copy, and I listened to it. And I got to tell you, when I sat there and I was listening to it, it took me back to Shine. I got that same. I know it's different, and I know you got guests on there. Tommy Shaw's on there. Peter Stroud's on there. But it really took me back to your debut album. It just had the same energy. I don't know what it was.
Man. Hey, I mean, like I said, it's that there's a magic formula, and the thing about music and any art form in general is it's personable to you, right? So whatever it brings you to is real, and if it's positive and you like it, then I'm glad. Maybe I don't think sonically there's a lot going on that's parallel to the first record, but maybe the vibe and the heart and the feel, maybe that's what you're catching on to. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because it is different. Lyrically it's different, musically it's different. Obviously, you're not going to put out the same thing. But when I listened to it, I was like, this is, and you said this earlier, Will, Collective Soul is a band that sounds like no other band. And that's because each and every one of y'all's parts, but obviously especially because of Ed's
songwriting, man.
And
it
his
belongs
voice.
amongst the best. And
his
voice.
cadence.
Yes, that's right.
So it's just like nothing that else is out there. And that's what makes bands like Collective Soul stand out. So you get that same vibe here. Like if you go and you do your solo stuff, or Ed do, his Sweet Tea Project stuff, it's your stuff. It's a different vibe. It's a different sound. This has got that Collective Soul vibe. It's really, were you
right.
like extremely?
You're making my hair stand up, man. I like this. I like
come back
this.
more often. You get fed,
man.
you get put over. But did you get that vibe when you guys were done and you laid down the last track? You said, "This is good."
Yeah. Now I can kind of I retro engineer my parts and stuff. I kind of think about where the end product is going to be, and then I try to lay down the foundation and be part of the rhythm section that takes us to a spot. But
hey, give us 30 seconds so we can thank some good people for making this happen. Live rebelliously, drink responsibly with Bedlam Vodka. I tell you, they're the best at what they do. I am in love with Bedlam Vodka. Goes down smooth, has consistency. Demand your Bedlam Vodka, and we appreciate Bedlam Vodka for sponsoring the Shoot to Grill podcast. BedlamVodka.com. See, that wasn't bad. Now back to the Shoot to Grill podcast.
I didn't know how well it'd be received. I knew for certain the five guys caught a wave of vibe and feel and intensity, but yet being relaxed enough to just let the thing flow. I knew we caught a really good wave, a strong one. And then, like you said too, this is lyrically, Ed came to the table on this one too, man. I've listened to it over and over. When it's out, I usually listen to my records a lot less, but now that it's mixed and it's not out yet, I've listened to it over and over, and it's one of our best. I mean, I know probably almost every artist says that. It sounds cliche, but this is one of our best.
No, I agree. It's phenomenal. Did you ever think that there was a time where either Collective Soul was going to be done because of music trends changing, or you no longer being in the music business?
I don't know. I think great songwriting is always going to be great songwriting. There was a moment when we were not communicating well, and we were playing about 20 shows a year for about a 3-year period. So during that period, I wasn't 100% sure that we'd be here doing the 25-year anniversary. But after, I guess it was about 08, 09, we came back together, and then by the time 2012 happened and Johnny Rapp's playing drums, we've just been taking off again, man.
So you're living proof that no matter what happens in a band, you can overcome it and you can move forward and still be successful.
Sure, man.
Because a lot of bands will just put their hands up. I mean, I don't know what the issues were, but, if there's some speed bump.
Nah, we needed too much money.
You just look. You're not paying me enough. Screw the band. I'm off doing my own thing.
No, we're not getting paid enough. Let's get the band back together.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Do you like doing your solo stuff?
I love, man. Without being able to do the solo stuff, it's it would be tougher for me. It really, and same thing with Ed and Dean as well. It actually gives us energy and fuel to be able to come back to Collective Soul and be able to put more energy into Collective Soul and realize that we all knew this anyway, but it's just a great realization to know that you can be a different sound. And, you know, I create my solo stuff. I create behind a piano. And, you know, some of those songs don't even have a real drum set on them. I programmed a drum set, or I actually played drum set on some of them. But, you know, the songs aren't approached the same way, and I get to deal with different things, and I don't have to worry about the way it sounds. I mean, on my last record, how many different genres do you think there are? Do you remember there's a bluegrass song, there's a prog rock song.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a
southern rock song.
Do you have, like, when you do your solo stuff, do you have anybody come up and say, "Hey, do Shine or do Gel"? You know, I want you to sing a Collective Soul song. And could you?
No, because the people who actually, if they know I have solo records and they bought my solo ticket, they pretty much know what I do. They're fans, you know, so I don't hear that a lot. But at the end of the night, at the very end of the night, they can tell I'm down to my last one or two songs. Somebody will usually just throw it out there. And sometimes I might do it, but it's going to be Will's version of Shine. It's not going to be Collective Soul, you know. And same, you know, Sweet Tea Project would always do a Collective Soul song or two.
Right,
you know? And you just kind of, you don't try to make it sound like Collective Soul. You just try to do the song and make it sound like your other band.
I remember the first time I saw Ed's Sweet Tea Project years and years ago. This was Velvet Sessions at the Hard Rock in Orlando. And he's up on stage, and, you know, I think, because I believe the Sweet Tea Project was fairly new at the time.
Yeah, I think that was their first record when they went down and did that.
Yeah, so, you know,
they did 2 records.
I think the fans that went out there, including myself, you know, were like, "Oh, you know, the band's not back together. He's going to do Collective Soul stuff and maybe some new stuff with it." Have no idea. It's a totally different sound for the most part. Mm-hmm. And I remember somebody in the crowd saying, you know, "Do Shine" or something like that. Ed stops the show.
Oh, God.
And he's like, "Hey, look." And he kind of rips into the guy. He's like, "We'll get to it later. Just relax and enjoy." You know, he's like, "Just shut up and enjoy the show right now." And I was like, ooh, okay. And he eventually did, I think, Shine and Gel or something like that. But, you know, it was like, shut your face hole. I'll get to it when I get to it.
This is the Sweet Tea Project. It is not Collective Soul.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing, you know, when you do your solo projects, it's kind of disrespectful to you, right? A little bit?
Exactly.
Yeah, I would think so.
Which is why, like, my point is, like, if you're buying a ticket to my show, you definitely know who Will is, and you want to hear those songs.
But you can't get pissed off, right?
You can't get pissed off, and yeah, it's not like I'm saying, hey, I'm playing a bunch of Collective Soul songs. They know I'm playing all my solo stuff. So
yeah. What are things that fans do to irritate you or any of the guys in the band?
Let's see. Let's think about the irritation. Sometimes when you're playing like a festival. So like if it's a metal festival or something, let's say, because we can cross genres. We can play River Flows and Gel, and we can play. We shared a stage with Seven Dust only 2 years ago. Our good friends from Atlanta.
Yeah.
If a metal guy just kind of sits there on front row waiting for another band, he's like, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I'm really good at throwing picks, and they hurt. They hurt when you hit them right.
Have you had to throw and start?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yeah, you do it just to wake them up a little bit?
All the time, man.
Yeah.
Pop them.
Yeah, fans don't think that you're looking at them, do they?
They don't realize that, no.
They don't think you're paying attention to them.
Yeah, it's depending on the lighting, you can pretty much look at everybody's face that's really close to you.
Yeah. So that's probably the most irritating thing, which I do understand, is when somebody's not into it.
I mean,
and it's almost like they're forcing themselves not to be into it.
And then, you know, there's the festivals where the ladies like take off their shirts, and when we were younger it was all fine, it was all good and dandy. Now it's like, man, put those up. You're gonna get sunburned really bad. And
because I remember you in '93 and times have changed. Your shirt off in '93 is not the same in the 2000s.
That was unfair. All right.
I know. Sheed, you got our food, brother. Look at that, man.
Yeah, man.
This is awesome. So, yeah, while Sheed's bringing over the food, again, Collective Soul, you guys are touring throughout the summer, right? You're going to be...
Yeah, man, we're through September. We'll do shows in the fall, too. There's some shows we're doing in the fall. But
Gin Blossoms with you all summer? Is that the lineup?
Pretty much, yeah. Gin Blossoms. And Driving and Crying's going to play some dates with us, too, as a third band.
And now when you get into the fall and still in support of the new album, another band going to go out? Can you say, or do you know? Or
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. We're looking at going overseas, getting down to South America and stuff again. We get to do that in the winter.
Yeah.
When it's get below the equator and go to their summer.
Different rock fan, especially in the UK.
We might even just do fall and stick to some headliner shows where we just have a local opener, or we might even just do a bunch of big festivals. There's a bunch of big festivals in the fall too. So
Yeah, that's
who
good.
knows?
All right, you ready to dig in?
Yeah, man.
All right, Sheet, come on over here and explain this again. I know on the grill cam we've picked all this up.
Pulling muscles from a shell.
So this is our sexual dish. So you not only cooked the noodles on the Kamado Joe.
Yeah, I cooked the pasta on the Kamado.
Right, the pasta. Is that bad to say noodles?
I think so.
Okay, sorry. My bad. But we've got the mussels and the clams.
Yes, we do. Provided
And-
by Terry. These things are monsters. Terry, when you watch this and hear this, these are some of the largest clams I've ever had to cook, but they came out amazing. Go ahead and
Looks
take
good.
that little bite right
You
there.
going?
I'm going.
I'm going mussels
Yeah,
first.
Sheet will explain it. You go ahead and dig in.
So
my
we
God.
made the noodles on the KJ
Yeah.
pasta, and just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, some smoked salt, stick of butter, boil it up, get it nice. Drop those in first. Then we went ahead and, after scrubbing the hell out of these mussels and clams, hit them with a little bit of lemon zest, butter, fresh chopped garlic, and let them steam right there on top of the top rack in the KJ. Remember, the KJ is going at about just under 500, 450 for these.
But you put them in a
A nice
tin-
foil pan, yeah.
Foil pan,
You can
yeah.
do them. You can do them right on the shells as well. But I wanted to get it nice and fully through because I like that little bit of smokiness. I take it off at the top so you get that hint.
Yeah.
But you can throw them right onto the ashes, right in the embers.
Will and I are
they'll
both having
smoke
problems
and
getting our noodles.
Tastes great.
I like the garlic. Lemon zest is awesome.
Much obliged,
It
brother.
was amazing. They were
Thank you.
really good.
Great.
This is cool because this is 20 minutes, you say?
Yeah.
And you got it how hot?
Just under 5.
Just under 5. So, if you're having somebody over the house and you're doing some, barbecue and some grilling, this is a nice,
Little side item.
yeah. Or, maybe you got a vegetarian. A lot of guests that we've had on the podcast, believe it or not, Will, vegetarians, rock stars mainly, you guys, weirdos. So not eating meat. But this is cool. This is different. And your guest, again, this is a big thing with us on Shoot to Grill, is that, like, you don't have to be a master chef on the
Nope.
grill, but you definitely better take pride in the food that you're cooking because you want that person to leave your house and brag about it.
Yeah.
That's huge, right?
That's
I like
a big
both
thing.
of those. The clam is killer. Clams, I don't know. I like clam a little better than the mussel, but they're both awesome.
See, I'm
Thank
more of
you,
a
brother.
muscle guy,
Thank you, bro.
but I can't get in there right now. I'm going to have to get in there in a second.
We'll tear this up after we're
yeah,
we
this
wrap up.
is a fun food to eat too.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It's
this
kind
is
of
what-
impressive too because it's different, right? If you got friends over,
That's what I'm saying.
it's
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
impressive to rock this on the green egg
Yeah,
or
no
the
one-
KJ.
No one would ever expect that this was all made, on a KJ.
Now, because let's talk about some otother grills. For example,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Yoder back here. The egg and the KJ, they're going to cook similar. So
Yeah.
same temperature, same cooking style. And you have the propane, which they sell Napoleon
Yeah, the
here
Napoleon
at
set
Atlantic
here.
Grill Company. Do you suggest cooking something like this strictly on a Kamado style cooking grill? You could also easily do it on a propane.
Yeah, you could easily do this on propane. If you
Yoder
wanted that-
obviously not
yeah,
because it's more smoker.
more slow and slow. If you were doing this on a Napoleon, you go ahead and get yourself some of the wood chips they've got in there, put them in a little piece of foil right over a flame so you get that smokiness that you're getting with the food here. And it's still able to do it. Can do it on almost anything. I think we'd even do it in that pizza oven if we had to.
And I got a cheap pop here because Bedlam Vodka is one of our great sponsors for the podcast. Well, I'm telling you,
I mean, I feel like I asked a lot of
the,
questions.
the Bedlam goes amazing with this dish. Like how wines go well
Yeah,
with certain
yeah.
foods? This Bedlam, because it goes really good with the, I know it might sound a little, to some of you, but it really, really is good. Dude, I got to get me through the day, man. So, excellent.
Thank you, brother.
You enjoy it, Will?
It's awesome.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate your
Hey,
time.
I'm glad to be here. Cool
Yeah.
show, man.
Hopefully you come back.
I will. Be
Yeah.
glad to.
What are you going to want next? You weren't picky. You were the lowest maintenance guest we've had.
Let's get some exotic meats. Let's get some
Beaver?
No,
Beaver and clams?
No. Let's stay away from the beaver.
He doesn't want any beaver.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. All right, beaver and clams, great combo. Yeah.
Just trying to play along. Just trying to be a fella, man. Just trying to be a fella. That's all. So what, like something? This is different for.
Well, I've done a couple of South African treks, and we've had Impala. We've had some other cool stuff that I'm telling you, you'd like it, man.
You can cook all that
I
stuff.
can cook anything.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna be fire in some time. I can
exotics.
make it
Have
happen.
you ever cooked a car before?
Car?
What's an Impala? It's a car, yeah.
Yeah. You just take the tires off and you roast them.
Okay. At what temperature? I'm just kidding. I know what you're talking about. All right. Look, Collective Soul's new album. Buy it. Love it. Go see him if you can. Out on tour. Will Turpin of Collective Soul. Great dude. When you see him, say hi to him. Say you heard him on the Shoot to Grill podcast. Sheed from heaven. PhillipsBarbecueCo.com.
Yeah.
I mean, the best, without a doubt, the best cook that I've ever been around. So
Heaven's missing a barbecuer right now.
yeah,
That's
it
me.
is.
Evans Barbecuer.
AtlantaGrillCompany.com. They'll ship you whatever you want. They got it all inside. You see all the, they got the KJs, the Yetis. They got everything. So go to their website. We're also giving stuff away on our website. A lot of it's coming from AtlantaGrillCompany.com that you can buy stuff on their website. Atlanta's Steak and Seafood. Terry with all the meats. CreateGraphix.net. Oxendine law firm. If you're planning on getting a divorce, well, I don't know. You and Donna
What if you
good?
burn a friend on your KJ grill when he's over there hanging out?
Oxlawfirm.com, Jared. And Northside Tool Rental. For all your tool rental needs, Bedlam Vodka, like I was saying, all these great people are making this work. So thanks for jumping on board, guys. Thanks for making this
appreciate it.
successful every time we release a new episode. I'm Jason Bailey. Thanks for being here. Bye. You a cigar smoker? Great news for you. TheHumidor.com. You got to go to this website. They are a big supporter of the Shoot to Grill podcast. Free shipping on every order, every day. Cigar bundles, samplers, and boxes. Guaranteed freshness. Huge selection of cigars, handpicked by certified tobacconists. That's an awesome word. Great prices, the best in the business. TheHumidor.com. And a big thanks for sponsoring the Shoot to Grill podcast.